What's going on, creators? Yeah, I just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I'd like to continue just the conversation on mental diets and hopefully add something positive to your mental diet for today. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff kind of wrote down. It has to do kind of with what's it do when you wake up and you're just in a state that you just can't stand. It's like I've been on this kind of this acceptance kick lately, but sometimes you just wake up and it's just one thing after another, after another, after another, and as you sit there kind of battling with these different things that are kind of just being frustrating and difficult, if you're not getting control of your inner state of being, it almost just starts to spiral, and when that starts to happen, it's important to kind of be able to stop, take some breaths, be still, and ask yourself, it's like, okay, well, let's think about this here. How long am I going to spend the present moment in this state that I just can't stand? That's spiraling and getting worse. The more I'm like kind of embodying more and more of that state, doesn't it make more sense to be like, oh, since my inner game is kind of reflecting this outer game, I might as well start kind of embodying something I do want to experience. And if that's not an option, just start to observe the thoughts more and more so, not getting carried away by them. Same thing with the emotions that are kind of connected with the thoughts. And to, if they're making you feel like shit, it's a good sign that the thoughts are in error. And if the thoughts are in error, the more that you sit there and kind of just battle with them, pretend like, and it's not so much pretend, but it's just like, getting carried away by them, kind of just festering on them. Maybe somebody is like wronged you on some level, or you're just pissed and you just took it out on some stranger or something, or who knows, and you're just like mentally battling some person in your mind. Ask yourself, is like, what am I getting from this? Why am I doing this? Why am I attacking that other person? Why am I wanting to hurt them? Why do I want to like wish vengeance on them, on some level? If you're honest with yourself, more than likely you're doing that because it kind of feels good. If it didn't feel somewhat good, what is the point? Why are you doing it then? Because you just can't help yourself. I mean, is that it? Who knows? It's so many different variables, but I know when I do it, it's because there's some sort of sick satisfaction from it. And it kind of feels better than just like all the alternative for some reason. And it's like, oh, they hurt you, so you just want to get even, and it feels good to like kind of imagine that, But if you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And the answer is to feel good, then ask yourself again, if there's another way to feel good, wouldn't that make more sense if it didn't feel so fucking kind of spirally and nasty? Because kind of what happens, for me is like, as you attack other people, even in your mind, it comes back on you because we're all connected, so it starts to become stupid and insane to continuously hurt yourself. The other person's not affected, they'll reject that, and it comes right back on you instantaneously in the moment, and you're just festering in the moment, spinning your wheels more and more and more so. And so the logical thing, the thing that makes sense, if you don't want to just sit there just spinning your wheels, hurting yourself, fucking getting more and more angry, is to ultimately just choose right now that I'm not going to spend the rest of my day like this. If what I'm holding on the inside is going to reflect out and I got to like experience that, then I'm going to start holding things that make me feel fucking awesome. The alternative is stupid, and I'm tired of suffering and feeling this way. And so just making that choice, a lot of times will break that cycle. And if there's some lingering, like, well, attack thoughts or vengeance thoughts or fear-based thoughts or whatever the fuck it is, to sit there, allow them to come and go, and not to connect with them, not to make that part of your identity, but to move in a direction either of, I don't want to say being neutral, because a lot of the times, if you've been suffering a lot, feeling numb feels better than feeling pain and suffering. But feeling numb is not feeling joy, and feeling numb is not feeling peace. And so it's probably the best that the old mind could do. Where it's like in the past, where you're suffering and suffering and suffering. Feeling numb, feeling like nothing at all feels better than that. And so to that mind, that's what peace is. But like moving forward, peace, to me, has to do more so with understanding who you actually are, and understanding how your inner beliefs and your assumptions then become mirrored out into your reality. So like when you're confronted with these different things, if you're stuck in the old mind of fear and like worrying and concerned and anxious and all this shit, realizing that for one, that fear only exists in my mind. I'm creating the fear, I'm reacting to it. Then I can choose not to do any of that shit. I can choose to experience exactly what the fuck I want to experience today in this fucking moment right now, not tomorrow or whatever. That's part of the old mindset, is constantly thinking, oh, tomorrow's when you make it tomorrow, which never comes. It just is a rat race mentality. But like the more that you're able and willing to take ownership and responsibility, even if you wake up and it's just like, oh, you stub your toe, oh, and then I put my socks on and my toenail catches on the thing, I just like, then it gets hurt, and then then I'm running late, and then there's no gas in the car, and then it's just one thing after another. Take responsibility that you're just in a state. You woke up in that state for whatever reason, and then, yeah, that state fucking sucks. Do you want to keep embodying it? Do you want to just double down on it and just experience more of it? Or do you want to just move to a different state? Because you can choose to be in whatever state you want to be. The old mind wants to constantly resist changing states because it doesn't want to admit to itself that every state that the old mind fucking created was awful and ultimately a waste of time and didn't actually do anything. Whereas the new mind, where it's like realizing that you are connected with your life, everything that's going on in it is a direct result of your beliefs and your assumptions. Your family, your marriage, your health, your finances, your everything has to do with your own mindset. And you can believe that or you cannot believe that, and that's on you to do that. I could care less what you want to believe about that. It's like I experienced enough of it through personal experience where it's like obvious. But like the thing of it is, it's like when you wake up in these states, it's easy to drift into the old kind of feeling like a victim and feeling like a separate little ego in a body. Whereas your new identity is like who you are in Christ, realizing every moment more and more so that you can shift into more and more desired states of consciousness. And one of the things you can start to do is really start taking inventory of your day. It's like working out, it's like doing anything where there's a progression, where it's like you guys gotta accept that you suck at something. It's like there's like a period of time where you suck, it's embarrassing. You look retarded, and it's just a fucking one thing after another. But then as you accept that that's part of the process, then you can start to build. But if you want to just pretend like that's not real, you're just going to keep spinning your wheels and going on these rat races. But like what's much more effective is to, at the end of the day, really assess how you spin it. Did 99.9% of your day go in blah, neutral, undesirable, feeling like shit all day, one chaos after the next? Or did you spend an hour, feeling some joy today? Did you feel happy at all today? And then, once you accept that that's where you're actually at, where, the best that you can do is 20 minutes of actually feeling good, while the rest of the 16 hours or so is just a fucking disaster. Well, that is what it is, and so you can start to move in a different direction, though, by, for one, accepting that, taking responsibility for that. And then, by taking responsibility, that means that you did the fucked up things, so that means you can do the great things. And so, start moving more and more so in a direction of, I spent 90% of my day feeling miserable, but I'm going to focus on the 10% now, those gains that I spent, feeling maybe some joy or gratitude. And it's like, you don't have that's part of the thing I get into where it's just like, oh, you got to have gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And it's like, gratitude is not a forced thing. Gratitude is not a word. Gratitude is a state of mind. It's not the word thank you. It's not the word gracias or whatever. It's like it is a state of consciousness from actually realizing your desire. It just naturally comes about. And so don't shame and guilt yourself. You're like, oh, I'm not being grateful. It's like spend most of the day complaining and ungrateful. Well, that's good that you recognize that. So now we can start moving in a different direction. But like with that, it's also important to start focusing on the progress. It's like it's so in the past when your old kind of mindset just drifted into days and weeks and ordeal in months of just bullshit suffering and everything else. Start bringing it down to today, and in that, then start progressing as much as you can in a more. I felt joy today for maybe 10 minutes, and that was all it was. But at least you had the 10 minutes. So maybe tomorrow, maybe you had 8 minutes. You don't even get as good as you did today. Well, that's okay. You at least are aware that you're kind of stagnating. It's like, well, what can we do tomorrow to maximize more of that? And keep moving and moving and moving in that direction. And as you do, you'll be surprised how fast that starts to happen as you're focusing on who you desire to be, and realizing that is already existing now. It's like God, your creator, is already experiencing love, and it's like you are already connected. So this isn't happening tomorrow or 5 minutes from now. It's happening, unfolding now. So it's always bringing it to who do you want to be right now, and embodying that right now, and feeling it. It's not a mental activity. As much as the old beliefs are feeling like your logic is God, feeling like your thinking mind is so fucking spectacular, but most of the time, your thinking mind only makes you think about fear, and then reacting to fear, and then spending the present moment fucking hating it, just doing everything possible not to be present. Oh, it's always going to be tomorrow. Oh, it's never good enough right now. Oh, it's always some fucking thing, but really getting out of that and, embody who the fuck you want to be anyway. It's like, why are you working so hard? For what? What is the payoff? Be that now. You are already that. It's just like, music is a good example because it's such a weird path to whatever. It's just like, you need these different milestones, and eventually then you made it, and then everything is a utopia, supposedly. But like, so instead of like going through those progressions, like always feeling not good enough, embody the fact that you made it now. No one's going to give that to you. That comes from nowhere else but yourself. And the only thing that makes you different than any other like musician or whatever there's nothing. There's no difference. It's like, stop putting people on pedestals, because you have put them on the pedestal. That's the, I look at like being like a music fan, it's like, oh, it's like all these like awesome musicians, and then you start thinking about it, it's like, oh, most of these people fucking killed themselves or drank themselves to death or overdosed on drugs. It's just like, is that like a shining example of somebody who's like super happy? Probably not. And so, get people off these pedestals and like realize that this like you made it moment is a total fucking illusion, and embody like who you want to be, that you made it now, and start doing that more and more so, and keep track of like kind of your progress with that, and continue to move in a direction where you're gaining more and more states of like heaven, more and more states of joy, happiness, love. Basically who you are when you're not fucking clouded in your mind with fear and what ifs and worst case scenarios and anger and depression and all that kind of horse shit, that is just all illusions, because, what you hold on the inside gets reflected on the outside. So you hold these like depressing thoughts, then you're going to experience depressing things. It's going to be drawn to you like a magnet unconsciously, and until you decide to change your thoughts, you're just going to double down on that state more and more so. And I hope you get out of that state, but the choice is yours. And so, with that being said, I think I'm going to bounce. Thanks everybody for listening, liking, sharing, subscribing. I appreciate your spiritual support and your financial support. Thank you for that. And until the next now, God bless.